Good morning, BizDev Morning Brew. Coming at you on a Tuesday. We are heading into the week, and one of the big things that have been coming across my desk has been storytelling. And those who know me, it's something that I always present. I say, "Can I tell you a story?" Or I'll ask, do you mind if I tell you a story about that? And I also associate a lot of the things that I express with a story that already either has been told or associated with a movie or television program. So that way, some type of a story can be grabbed along with whatever I'm saying. I was in a family full of storytellers. My uncle Manny was one of the biggest models in my life as a child. And one of the reasons why I always wanted to be around him was because everybody wanted to hear his stories. He always had a joke to tell, and he always had a story. Even when he was in church, it would be that moment. For those of you who go to church, there's a moment usually where people testify. They'll stand up and speak on things that have changed in their life, and everyone would be excited about him standing up because you knew it was going to be an entertaining story and he was going to have a lot to say that was going to impact your life. And in the sales world, there are many people that follow along as great storytellers. Those who are on stage and do great presentations are all well known for great storytelling. And I my one of my favorite is Jim Rohn. And just in the way that he tells a story, it allows you to not only hear a great presentation of good information, but you're entertained in a way not unlike you would at a comedy show with a stand-up comedian would get on stage and present his material. There's a certain cadence that goes along with presenting a good story. And when you're able to allow certain pauses, you're able to allow some digestion of what was just said. And Jim Rohn does this perfectly. And he allows you to really go along with what he's saying. And before you know it, you've learned a lesson and you've spent half an hour listening to him talk. And it's a brilliant way to keep someone's attention. Now, some would just say Jim is a master at what he does. They would even say the same for Bob Proctor or Zig Ziglar, or even currently Grant Cardone, uh, or Pat Bet David, great storyteller, as well as Rod Hairston. He's a very good storyteller who brings you along from a very specific moment to take you on a journey beyond where you ever expected to go, and then rounds it back to the original idea. And this basically has there's a way of doing this. There's a structure to this. And recently I've seen quite a few master classes or the best ways to tell a story. And it's pretty there is a nuance to it that kind of can be considered a talent to be able to tell a story. However, there are some basics that you just may want to know when you're doing. If you're able to present an idea, you can tell a story. And the best way for you to figure it out is to just know and understand that there are pretty much 8 stages you need to go through, 8 sections you need to create in your story. And sometimes they, 2 or 3 of them will kind of smash together into one phrase. But as long as you cover all 8 of these steps or these stages, you have a complete story. And that in itself will allow you to create the cadences and the spaces and allow for the normal human humor to just unfold. And then you're just known for being a great storyteller, which is not unlike how Jim Rohn does it. So I want to share with you, of course, just a quick outline of these 8 stages. So if you look here really quick, it's this is from the National Association of Sales Professionals, and when you put these 8 stages together, you basically come up with a complete story. You obviously have to have a hero. There has to be someone in there, whether it be you, if it's someone else. Usually, when it's someone else, it really does grab the audience or grabs the person that you're talking to. So you want to have a hero, and you want that hero to be presented with a challenge. And whether that challenge sticks with just the hero, or the challenge is spread across a few people, you want a challenge to be presented pretty earlier on in the story. So as you don't necessarily have to present the hero can present themselves. As you tell the story, your audience, or the person you're talking to, generally will pick up who the story is about. And then the challenge needs to be presented earlier on. And then once the challenge is presented, some choices need to be made. And choices and decisions can kind of fold over. This is what I'm talking about. Choices, decisions, and a battle. These things can kind of fold over each other as the story is told, but you must present some choices that either the hero has to make, or the hero is faced with, and the decision that has to be made. Either the decision that is presented immediately, or the decision that is a battle to decide can also unfold. And when you have these choices of a decision, that's when you have choices, decisions, and battles kind of unfolding. And when these three big join up as one piece in the complete story, you wind up finding, as you progress, the transformation, and then closing it out with the lesson. And then this closing of the lesson after a transformation point, where the hero finds out that they are finally this thing, or they have found their identity, or they realize that they were wrong, or they realize that they were right, or whatever, you express the lesson in the close. And this is done rather easily once you just know these things. You can grab on the fact you need a hero and present that hero with a challenge. You want to give him choices, decisions, and a battle to go through in the story. That way you can have some meat. You have to have the nut, the juice, the nucleus of the story, which is this center part. And then obviously, when you want them to go through these choices, battle, and decisions for a reason, which is the transformation, and then an all-out lesson afterwards. Again, these two at the end can kind of mold together, but you want to close it with, this is what I learned, or this is what the hero learned, or this is what you learn from this story. So now that we've got that, let's really take a look at the master at work here. Jim here is going to tell one of my favorite stories about what really got him to become successful.
Just before I met Mr. Show, I heard a knock at the door. I go to the door, and there's a little girl standing there about this tall selling Girl Scout cookies. And she gave me one of the finest sales presentations I've ever heard. Special deal, several flavors, this whole package of stuff, $2. And with a big smile, she very politely asked me to buy. And I wanted to. Big problem. I'm broke. I don't have $2. And to this day, I can remember the pain and the embarrassment. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I've been to college. I'm working. I'm 25. I don't have $2. And I didn't want to tell her that for some reason. So I did what I thought was next best. I lied to her. I said, hey, look, I've already bought lots of Girl Scout cookies. I've still got plenty stacked in the house, which was not true. But it seemed to get me off the hook for the moment. She said, well, gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. And she went away. When she left, I closed the door, and that was the day I said to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with lying, and I've had it with being broke. I'm never going to let this happen to me ever again. I promised that day I would work as hard as possible and would always carry plenty. It took me a little while, but now I do. It was one of those reasons.
So the way he brilliantly tells this story is in alignment with what I was just mentioning about how you can mold things together. So when you're looking at the way that he tells that wonderful story, the hero could be the girl selling the Girl Scout cookies. It also could be him. He could be the hero in that whole idea. And the challenge represented could be either the challenge of the young girl wanting to sell the Girl Scout cookies, or it could be the challenge that he was broke, right? He did not have the $2 in order to purchase, but he wanted to. He even mentions this, that I wanted to. The presentation that the young girl gave was compelling enough for him to want to buy these cookies. And then the choice that had to be made was he could either tell her, I don't have the money, or lie. And he chose to lie. That decision, that choice and decision created a battle. So he made the choice and the decision to lie, the choice to lie, and then lied. And the battle was that he felt terrible for lying to her. So there's an example of when you mold all these three together, a choice, decision, and battle. The transformation after closing the door made him realize that he never wanted to feel that way again. He never wanted to accept the idea that he should lie about his financial position, nor did he ever want to experience that idea of not having money, which was the lesson. So there's the example of transformation and lesson kind of molding together, is that transformation he experienced after closing that door gave him the lesson to never be broke again. This is a fantastic story that is very compelling in a way that it grabbed an entire audience and continued to grab. He told that story, I don't know how many times, probably hundreds of times over the time that he was presenting on stages. And more often than not, if you look up Jim Rohn, this story, there's also a lot of biblical stories, but this one story is something that's always sandwiched in to grab people's attention, to make you understand that it is up to you to become successful no matter what. It's up to you to succeed at your goals no matter what. It's up to you in this story as the hero. Your challenge is to choose and make a decision to go through the battles to transform and learn your lessons. It's the best way for you to understand how to present your ideas to someone. You can do this in a pitch, and I suggest that you do this in a pitch. When you are talking to someone, create the hero. The hero could be your prospect. The hero is your prospect, and the challenges that they face are real, and you are giving them choices to make a decision that you will go through the battle with them and transform their business. And in that, learn the lesson of success. So with that, BizDev Morning Brew, telling your stories, storytelling is one of the most successful ways for you to get any idea across, whether you're pitching to a prospect, or you're talking to an investor, or you're talking to your boss, you're talking to your employees, you're talking to your kids, you're talking to your parents. Telling a story is one of the best ways for people to gather the information and understand it clearly enough, and trust you with the information that's being delivered. BizDev Morning Brew, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 a.m. We are rocking into the middle of the week. I trust that you are doing well. If you want to leave me a message, please do so. You can message me directly or leave a comment. Comments are welcomed. I appreciate all the comments that I've received so far as we rock and roll through this episode 34, I believe we're on. And we're going to keep continuing. BizDev Morning Brew. And hope you're having a great day. Talk to you soon.